What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Special Sunday night edition of Mayhem. Today is called Fantastic Mayhem because, as you can see below us, we have Austin from Fantastic Freaks here.
What's going on, everybody?
We just figured tomorrow's the holiday. Hopefully, I'm not on my deathbed again. And, with it being the holiday, everybody has plans tomorrow. So we just figured we'd go ahead and join forces and do it tonight. Because why not?
And all together, just as Josh said, can create some fantastic mayhem today.
Yeah.
Day early. It can even be more mayhem-like.
Right. Oh, let's see. Let's go do a little roll call here. Like Lefty popped in first. He said, this isn't a Monday night. This is Zen Ginger made it in. What's happening, Zen? Looks like got Jenna P 2005. What's happening, Jenna? Mark Sterlson's here. What's up, Mark Sterlson? Liquid Zoo Only Fins. What's happening, Matt?
Another fellow tuber from Iowa there as well, I got to add.
Yep. John McKenzie, how's it going? Says happy 4th, everyone. Kyle Jaded made it in. 10-figure check before the 4th. Only Oscars made it in. Hi, Only Oscars. How you doing? Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. The last couple days I just woke up feeling like crap. So I'm trying to talk. At least I can now. Woke up this morning, didn't have a voice.
I've heard that some
P 2003 made it in.
Mm-hmm.
Do what now?
I said I heard that there's still a lot of pollen going around, so maybe that's part of the reason why. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't feel too great yesterday either, but today seemed like it was the worst of it. But who knows? I guess it's good timing. I don't have to miss work.
Right? Holiday and all that, giving some of us a 3-day or maybe even a 4-day weekend, depending, I guess, on what your typical days are off and such.
Right.
One moment.
That purple thing gets me every time.
Hi,
I love it.
So, I know a lot of people that are watching right now already know who you are, but just for the ones that may or may not know, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, obviously my channel, Fantastic Freaks, that's wherever I'm pointing, somewhere. It's around there somewhere. But Fantastic Freaks, my channel. I've been doing this for about slightly over 2 years. I think my first video was like late April 2020, right when all that lovely COVID-19 stuff was going on. But I do all sorts of fish videos, obviously, as my channel logo would show, as would the Aquarium Co-op hat, perhaps, as well. My favorite fish is freshwater puffers. Starting to get into some brackish water puffers. I got figure 8s and green spotteds as well. The green spotteds are still in freshwater, but I'll be moved to brackish eventually. But otherwise, I got angelfish. I got tetras, rainbows, all sorts of angelfish, goldfish, all sorts of stuff down here. And I'm just a guy that is fortunate enough to have a wife that lets me have the whole basement and turn it into a fish room and just have a lot of tanks and a lot of fish.
I took the house and the basement.
Yeah.
The deal was when we moved into this house, my wife, Jessica, was saying, hey, you can do and put whatever tanks and fish you want down there, but nothing comes up the stairs. As long as everything is down there, do whatever you want downstairs.
Well, looks you got some pretty big tanks down there, so it looks like you definitely got some room.
Yeah, I mean, biggest one right here behind me is 240. So that's
pretty
like
good size.
It's like the great melting pot. It's got grommies, an angelfish, rainbows, a black ghost knife in there somewhere, some glass cats. I got all sorts of stuff in there.
No, it's a good looking tank.
Yeah.
It'd have been a lot better if Silver Dollars didn't mow down all the jungle val. I ignorantly put them in and forgot that they love to. They're like little swimming lawnmowers.
Yeah. No, I had to put all my Silver Dollars in a tank that didn't have plants.
They've left the Anubias alone, though, thankfully. Well, mostly.
Really?
Yeah. I understand that they taste like bitter and waxy to fish. So I guess
I don't know.
If it tasted bitter and waxy to me, I probably wouldn't want to eat it either.
I must have special fish then.
I was just going to say,
They eat it.
my guppies tore up my Anubias.
Yeah. But there's a couple tall Anubias in the tank back here with Frankie in it, and he doesn't seem to bother him. So
Frankie's your Fahaka, correct?
Yep.
Thought so.
And he's pushing about 3 inches now.
3 inches.
I think we've had him for
About 5 months.
4 or 5 months, something like that.
All right. Sounds like his growth is pretty much right on pace then.
Yeah.
Some of them, I know some of them are like, is my Fahaka, like they're supposed to grow an inch a month? Not. It's like, yeah, that's not always true. Finley, I mean, she's 13 inches right now. The last time I measured her, which is about a month and a half or so ago. So she's probably bigger than that now. But like when I had her, she only grew about an inch every month and a half or two. Granted, that's still a good rate, but it's like, an inch per month, that's kind of mythical yet, but they do grow fast.
Maybe as they get bigger,
Oh, yeah.
like later on, they might pick up an inch a month. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Typically, when they hit about the 10-inch or 12-inch mark, their growth spurt really slows down. But
Yeah.
like
That's what I would kind of figure, but
it almost takes them like another. One person told me, I don't know how much truth there is to it, because obviously they can grow like supposedly around 18 inches, although most tell me they mostly stop around 16 more. But they, nonetheless, it's a big fish. But
you're right.
Yeah.
they grow supposedly slower once they hit about that 10-inch to 12-inch mark. But well, I'm still learning the rate here yet, because obviously she's not 16 nor 18.
She's not full grown yet.
So we're testing the theory now as we speak.
Right. I'm seeing how far they grow from this big. You can tell me how far they grow from that big.
I mean, at least it's not a blue puffer.
Yeah, that's actually what we were thinking about doing before we found this one.
Ooh.
But to put a Maboo in a 150, you're going to have to upgrade the tank.
Right.
And I figure a 150 for Frank ought to be sustainable for him, unless he like hulks out or something.
I feel like when you notice that you got to say upgrade after 150 gallons, I think that says a lot about the fish all by itself. Right?
Yeah.
We're upgrading from a 150. Think about that.
150 gallon tank doesn't cut it anymore.
No. Cut it for a while, but not long term, unfortunately.
Right. Looks like Zen Ginger had a comment. Said, random thought. In all your tanks, do you have metalhead guppies? I feel like you should if you don't.
Yeah. We don't yet.
I'm working on it. I agree. Wholeheartedly.
There was actually a question for Austin right about that from Stephen P.
Looks like Stephen P says, Austin, black ghost knife with a Shadowdini puffer doable? Question mark. Did I say that right?
I mean, I know what I mean, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right either, but
there we go.
I think it's Shadowdini puffer. It's also known as a spotted Congo puffer, but that's what I call them, because that word, like there's Shadowdini, Gesundheit, but I mean, I
you
personally, right. Personally, Stephen P, I wouldn't, just because with me and the puffers, I mean, not that a ghost knife I don't think would stay out of the puffer's way. Ghost knives like to hide in like caves and such. The one thing I would worry about is when puffers are curious, they tend to nip things, and especially since, just like puffers, a ghost knife is a scaleless fish, they're already susceptible to things. So and more than likely, probably would happen eventually, if the Shotendeni sees that little bottom fin going all crazy with the black ghost knife, chances are that puffer is going to be very enticed to bite the ghost knife to be like, ooh, what is this? Chomp. And so personally, I would say no. There's probably some crazy exception out there, but I would definitely say I personally would not advise it. Just because they have that fin, and it's probably going to look very alluring to a very curiously for a puffer, and it's going to make them want to check it out with their teeth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Test the armor.
Sure.
Yeah, which unfortunately ghost knives don't have a ton of, unlike some other things like plecos or something. I have seen people put like certain types of plecos though with Shout and Denny puffers and such. But anything that has like any fins or anything, because I know one person even asked me angelfish. It's like angelfish with really any kind of puffer I wouldn't suggest because of those fins.
Yep, be highly attractive.
Yeah.
I thought about putting a pleco in this tank, but it's sand capped, and I don't really want the pleco down there digging in it. So I chose not to, because they will dig.
Yes.
They'll root around.
As will some of your puffers too. They'll blow around the sand because that's how they hunt for snails in the wild. But
yep. So far, so good with Frankie. He doesn't really mess around with the substrate too much, but he's only like this long.
I must say, yeah, give him time. Give him time.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because then maybe you can put plants in with them. But for a while with Finley, I couldn't do anything like that because she would always blow the sand around, thus uprooting all the plants. So I'm like, all right, you know what? You're just going to have a boringly scaped tank, I guess. But she's gotten better, though.
He does pretty good around these guys. I've got some, I think that's Val in there, and I got a couple of taller, I forgot what they call them, but they're tall and Nubius.
No, shoot. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at plant names or plants in general.
Uh-oh. I'm froze up?
Yeah.
Really? I'm still moving.
Well, guys,
Still moving on my screen.
Wouldn't be us if we didn't have problems.
Right?
Looks like Scott's Aquatics made it in. What's happening? Zen Ginger says, shout is pronounced shout in Dutch, and the any is usually I.
and I.
Shout and I.
Shout and I puffer.
Shout and I. Shouted in I. Or yeah.
Shouted in I.
That sounds weird.
I got to be honest, that's the first time I've heard that one. Like I say, I'm just going to stick to spotted Congo puffers because that's way easier for me to remember.
Yeah.
Pronunciation is not my gift in life.
I can always rely on Zen, also IHSP, to tell me how to say something.
Yeah. Both of them are very good at that.
I think
I am not good at some of the scientific names.
Right.
Took me a while to learn Nereai. Man. So what else you got going on? You got any big plans? I know you had some stuff down there you were doing.
So yeah, I know we're getting. So you're talking about upgrading a Mabu here earlier, or joking around with that earlier. So my little Mabu, his name is Mac, is in a 40 breeder currently. He's still about 4 inches, so he's still just a wee little baby yet. But I mean, he was only maybe 1.5 inches when we first got him. But he's going to move out of that 40 breeder and into a 210 gallon, which, again, it's crazy that we have a tank that's not 100 gallons, over 200 gallons, and we still got to upgrade this at some point down the road. Granted, it might be a year and a half or so down the road because, again, supposedly a Mabu puffer is supposed to, their growth spurt's supposed to slow down after they get 1 inch or 2 over the foot long mark. We'll see if that stands true or if we need to come up with a plan B otherwise. But he's going to move into a 210 here soon. I'm also setting up a 185 gallon bow front for my first ever saltwater aquarium, which will be interesting on different levels, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot different.
Yes. Well, I've so far done the one brackish tank for a while, and obviously brackish and full marine water are very different.
Yeah.
But so far the brackish water has gone all right, which is kind of like, okay, well, if this is going well, then hey, maybe we should give Saltwater a shot. Because, well, if this is going well, then maybe we should at least give her a shot.
Brackish is kind of hard for some people, so if you mastered that, you ought to be able to catch saltwater pretty easy.
I think what maybe might also help is since figure 8 puffers and such, and I also have like some mollies and a night goby in there with them. At least the mollies and the figure 8 puffers can deal with closer to freshwater parameters. So I feel like if the salinity went down, then maybe they can tolerate that better compared to other fish. I don't know how much truth there is to that. Just a personal theory I thought of in my head. It's like, but
the mollies can definitely take it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, figure 8s before I moved them into a brackish tank were in freshwater for about 3 or 4 months, and before I moved them over. But I mean, I will say their figure 8s colors have gotten a lot better though, and a lot more vibrant since I put them in water with salinity, or can't think of the exact term right now that they use for salt water, but
that I think it's salinity. I think you're right.
Either way, salt in the water.
Yeah, it's not fresh.
Yes.
No, we haven't had a saltwater tank in 14 or 15 years, and well, that's what the plans are for the one behind her. And that's a 90-gallon. We got that from that's the Salty Kelly tank. That's the one that Kelly Foreman gave us, and I finally built the stand for it. I planned on getting some things done on it, and just nothing goes as planned ever.
Nope.
So
if there's anything
that's all the farther I've gotten with it right now.
Yeah, if there's anything I've learned with this hobby is just when you think you got something all figured out, or when you think you know what to expect, something else comes out of left field or out of the blue, and like, well, turns out it doesn't go as I always expect.
Nope. No, it's just like when I was building the stand for that tank. That tank is drilled. I forgot to take that into account, so I had to pull the stand back outside and shave a notch out of the support for it, which is fine. It's plenty strong enough, but like, oops. Probably should have made the stand just a tick wider.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It'll be all right.
I've been building some like multi-level stands as well. I got one holding 275s, and I got another one over by me doing the 45s back there.
Oh yeah.
And something I learned from my 75-gallon stands is make sure you have enough space for the lid on the bottom to completely open. That was my first mess up. And then the second mess up, I mean, both of the mess ups were minor in the grand scheme of things, but the mistake I made with this one by making it 3 levels, well, I didn't take an account of my ceiling here in the basement, which is a lower clearance than most because my house was completed in like 1893, so it's got lower clearance ceilings and such. Yeah. And I can open my top tank's lid enough, but never all the way, and it makes sometimes feeding Mac, who's on the top level there, a little interesting. Fortunately, he's not a biter though.
Right. Yeah, I have the same problem. I can only go up so high. Yeah. Now in this room, the ceiling's like, well, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 foot. So I could double stack in here if I absolutely had to, but I don't really want to put. I've got enough weight on these old floors. I don't want to push my luck.
That's why I put all the tanks down here on a big giant slab of concrete underground.
Yeah. Fortunately, they're all in against the wall. So, I mean, I got that going for them. But, yeah, I was getting nervous when we put that cube tank in and I started filling it. I'm sitting here looking at all the other tanks going, God, one day this floor is going to go, I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know all about that, consider. So when I first started collecting multiple tanks, this addiction, we'll call it, kind of began when I was living on a second floor apartment. So I very quickly had to start keeping in mind the water weight. I mean, obviously, no, I did not have this 240 on a second floor. That would have been interesting, to put it gently. But the biggest tank I had was just a 55. And even as then, my landlord, who was still nice enough to let me even do what I did back then, I didn't have a YouTube channel just yet, but even with the 55, she was kind of like,
That's pushing it.
how much is this thing going to weigh by the time it's full? It's like, I think it was about 800 pounds or so, because usually by the time you fill up a 75 with the water, the gravel, and you accommodate for the glass and such, I think that typically goes around 1,000 pounds, which is unbelievable. A 75 does not sound that big. So, I mean, when you think about something like this, imagine what a 240 or something would weigh.
Yeah. I think it's like 8 pounds per gallon or something like that.
Yeah, it's like 8 point something per gallon of water.
You factor in these larger tanks or thicker glass, and the tanks without anything in them are a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah. I mean, I will tell you now, moving this 240 gallon tank down the stairs was quite the chore.
Yeah. I bet that was glass. Yeah. The tube tank was pretty decent. My oldest and I brought it in the house ourselves, but it's acrylic, so it's a little bit lighter, but it still has weight.
Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten an acrylic tank yet. I have been thinking that, in terms of long-term plans for my Maboo puffer, obviously at some point feel like I'm going to have to either build something myself or get a custom tank, but acrylic was one thing I was kind of thinking about, because acrylic's traditionally cheaper than glass too, ain't it? Or am I way off there?
It depends. Like if you're wanting it drilled and stuff like that, custom sizes. I think that they're a little bit cheaper, but I'm not 100% sure. I know some of the glass ones. I just saw one the other day. Can't remember the measurements, but they wanted like $2,200 for it or something like that. Yeah, and that was I don't think that was acrylic. So they're not cheap.
No. I was browsing around, just messing around. I think it was customaquariums.com specifically is what I was looking at. I was looking at a tank, so I guess one of the other options I was thinking about, I see people building these plywood aquariums all the time, and I would think, man, that'd be really cool to do. Because then you get enough plywood. Granted, lumber has gotten a ittle bit better. It's still not fantastic by any means, but it'd probably be better than, getting so the dimensions I was thinking even of was like 10 feet, or even if I can 12 feet long, and maybe 4 feet front to back, and then height, I guess, was to be determined, because the taller it is and the more water pressure you got on the bottom, of course. But
right,
I was kind of sitting here thinking, like, I want to say if I did that with just all glass, I think that was like almost I'm going to say that was like a 10 or 15K tank, which is just, it's like, good Lord. When you're starting to consider a tank that costs as much as a car, you might want to reconsider your choices.
Right.
Yeah.
No, when we did the pond down in the basement, it was right when the wood skyrocketed, and that was my plan to build a plywood pond. And I started doing the math of all the sheets that I was going to need and everything, and the backbone, and then didn't even have to factor in the liner, because by the time I got the wood figured out, I was like, nope. I found that Intex pool for $200. I said, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely, if it's I noticed that the prices came down a little ways. When I picked up the wood for that tank there, it wasn't that bad. I think I had like $80 or $88 in it. And that was 4 10-foot 4x4s, and I don't know how many sheets of 2x4, and then whatever else I got. It was only like $80, so I was like, "No, that's not horrible."
Yeah. Fortunately, I haven't built any. Well, I guess I haven't built anything too crazy yet. I built a 2-level stand for 2 125s. I've had a 125 sitting down here now for at least a few months, and I know some people are like, "What? Why are you just letting that sit empty, man?" But which I agree. It's like that thing is sat empty too long. I keep looking at it, and I had one idea to start with when I first got it. Now I'm like up to 5 different ideas. And I'm like, at first I was just like, I'm going to do Oscars. And then I'm like, those angels in my 75 would look pretty sweet in that 125.
Yeah.
Another fish store, I saw something like a red-tailed barracuda, which I know are not technically barracuda, but still it's just, they looked cool. And they kind of, I could see why they sometimes get the nickname barracuda.
Right.
And then there was another one. Oh, yeah. And then my Cross River puffer, I was thinking like, well, it's in the 75 right now. Down the road, it would look pretty cool in that 125. So it's like one idea is now turned into like 4. And I'm sure a 5th one will come eventually before I set it.
Right.
This is what happens when you procrastinate. It gets more complicated.
As soon as you start it, you'll see something else and go, damn it.
Yep. Well, time to just go buy 4 more 125s, I guess.
Yep. Oh, Matt's got one. Forgot he has a 240.
Empty for 18
Yeah.
months.
Woo! Empty for 18 months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I applaud that. That takes some willpower.
Yeah, I don't think I could let one go that empty that long.
No.
That's I'd have to do something with it.
Well, it's not quite a 240. I will say that my 185 bow front that I'm going to turn into a saltwater has been about 2 years. So, granted, I also haven't done a saltwater tank for a while. The plans is it just went from here to here, up there, all over, and it just I find it's like, let's just do the daggone saltwater for God's sake.
Been on the back burner long enough. Falsatero says the answer will always be discus. Falsatero's got some nice discus.
Yeah.
There's idea number 5 right there.
IHSP made it in. Want to say hello to, let's see, we got a few in here. Garcia Aquatics made it in. Killer Kitty and Doc, Amazon Research Center for Ornamental Fishes. What's happening, everybody? And anybody else, if I missed you, Paul Sotero, I'm sorry. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm trying to keep up. But yeah, no, that's what we wound up putting in the 200. The cube tank was discus, and I've got some Raspors in there, Bolivian rams. I'd like to put some German blues in there.
German blues are probably my favorite ram.
Yeah, really cool. And there's some pistos I want to put in there too. I got a nice little mix in there. Bunch of discus, bunch of other fish. It's pretty cool in there.
Mm-hmm.
I bet.
Dave Farrell made it in. Oops, sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I was just saying, yeah, that's a beautiful combination.
Yeah, the plants are finally growing back, so it's taken off nicely now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes time, but when it finally starts to take off, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Discus are one of those fish that it's on my want list, but I've never kept yet. Same thing with Oscars. It's another fish. My father once kept Oscars, like back when he was in college, but I myself have never had Oscars or discus, which I know some people are all like, you've been keeping freshwater fish since you were in middle school and you've never had an Oscar. It's like there were a lot of things in that time I haven't kept or probably done right while I'm at it.
Had to wait for the right moment.
Right. I've been very close to pulling the trigger a couple times. Like there was a Black Friday sale. There was a black longfin Oscar, and he was beautiful. I only had a 40-gallon breeder at the time, which I look back on it. It's like, yeah, that would not have been a wise move.
No,
because they do grow fast.
Yes. But I was stupid. I was not as knowledgeable with Oscars then as some other guy was coming in there, had a 100 and I think he just had a 125. He really wanted the Oscar as well, and he just kind of said, hey, can I talk you out of it and such? And then when he told me he had a 125, something in the head just said, you know what, that sounds like that's going to be way better than anything I can get it in the near future.
Right.
You know what, man, go ahead. Take them.
Right.
It's
there's been times where I've had to make that decision.
Yeah.
about the closest time I've ever got. Other than that, it's just never been the right time. But
Right.
someday.
Well, I know somebody that has plenty of Oscars if you're ever in the market.
I feel like I should know who that is, but
No, I've got 3 in the pool, and I've got one up here and another one downstairs, and I kind of have them all over the place.
man. Is that your favorite fish then, Oscars?
Actually, Oscars are, besides a goldfish, Oscars are what I pretty much went full bore into the hobby with.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. So, I had a goldfish. The you win one in a carnival thing. That's exactly what happened. And they're all like, "Oh, you can put it in a 10-gallon." You're right. No, that fish lived for 6 or more years. I had him forever. Didn't know the first thing about keeping a fish. Just didn't know anything about it at all. But I had him. I don't know how he didn't die, but I think I had him for 6 or 7 years. And then I went without fish for a while after he passed away. And then I got into Oscars and just been kind of going from there. I always have an Oscar.
I always try to be nice about that stuff, but yeah, sometimes you go into like those Petcos and PetSmarts, and when they say you can't, like, oh, it's okay, you can put a goldfish in a 10-gallon, and my wife would even tell you there's been some stories where I've gone to people and say, hey, just so you know, that comet goldfish will grow to about a foot. Please don't put that in a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your money. Do what you want, but I'm just saying, hey, that fish grows to a foot, so do keep that. Big. just so you know.
Yep. Or the same thing with pacu.
Oh, pacus. Whew.
Yeah. People. I was at a fish store one day, and somebody was looking at the pacu, and they're like, "It looks like a piranha." I'm like, well, the guy's like, "Oh, they're related." And they're like, "How big does that fish get?" He goes, "Well, you're going to want a big tank." So I'm like, just standing back. The guy's like, "What size tank?" And I'm like,
one the size of your bedroom.
Yeah. I'm just standing there, and the guy selling it to, that works there, he's like, "Well, you're definitely going to want something around a 500-gallon. I'm like, yeah, he'll outgrow it.
At this point,
you want a pool.
Yeah. I was about to say, when you get over when you start going over the 300-gallon range, you might as well just build an outdoor swimming pool.
Yeah. Yep.
Just get one of those swimming pools and call it a day. It'll probably be cheaper too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's fun. Speaking of pacus, I actually saw some pacus, and they were, I want to say, it was some sort of crazy dimension, but it was a 300-gallon tank. And this one store, like small town Iowa, Eldora, Iowa to be precise, he has 2 black pacu in this tank. And I mean, they were amazing. They were huge. I mean, you could tell that were getting by in the tank as well there. And he definitely kept the water clean and such. And
right.
But just, I've never seen them in an aquarium or like really in a store period. So when I saw them there in that tank there, it really just kind of, it's hard to wrap your mind around, like, yeah, they get that huge.
Right.
And especially when you see their teeth, then you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's why they're related to piranha. I see
it. Yeah. They're kind of weird looking. It looks like they're wearing dentures.
They are. And that's kind of exactly what these 2 looked like.
It's a little creepy. Something else I'm into is giant grommies. I want to get one of those. Yeah, I like giant grommies. They're kind of like big water dogs too sometimes.
I just like grommies in general. They kind of remind me of angelfish and such too. Grommies are probably one of my top 5 favorite fish out there. Probably the little whiskers got, like I said, kind of remind me of angels. And then grommies are just one of those fish you can find about whatever color you want too.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of options with them. Oh man. Matt says, "Oh, now I'm gonna Eldora, I'm gonna have nightmares now."
I feel like there's a story behind that, Matt. I don't know if you've told me that one.
Sure there is.
The town in Iowa that always gave me nightmares was Villisca for obvious reasons, but Matt probably knows what I'm talking about. But
we have a few towns like that here. There's one to the north of us, and another one kind of to the west of us. They're both like, as soon as I'm into those towns, I'm just pouring it through there because it's like, I don't want to get caught here. Nice place, but man, the people just aggravate me really bad.
Yeah. It's why I kind of like our place is kind of interesting. We're here in Council Bluffs, Iowa, right next to Omaha, and our place is kind of right on the edge of town, but it's still a 2.5 acre place and such. We still got houses next to each other, but they're not like lined right up next to each other as some places would be in a city and such. So you still got neighbors, but you still got a little seclusion, which is nice.
Right. You got to drive to see them.
Well, not quite, but it is a decent walk. Get a little cardio in, get a little exercise.
Right.
If you ever want to see them. They kind of do their thing, we do our thing. But
yeah. I mean, where we're at, it's a small neighborhood, but luckily enough, the house that was next to us, they tore down a couple of years ago, and the house on the other side of us there's a driveway in between us, so we all got enough room, and I don't even pay attention to the people directly behind me, so it's all right, I guess. I wouldn't mind being out in the woods, though.
We have a little wooded area right next to our place. Probably takes up about an acre or so of our place. We, at some point, may thin it out a little bit, but at this point, it's just like, it's just not too high on my list of priorities. But it's kind of nice to have some wooded area and all that, too, because deer sometimes come along. With the deer, sometimes coyotes come along, and they're not as welcomed. But everything else is cool, though.
What's
Owls,
weird, we get those
foxes.
here in the city, too. Coyote.
Ooh. I did a little farmhand work, too, when I grew up, too. So I learned very quickly that coyotes are bad news.
Yeah.
Not as bad as a wolf sometimes here in the north, but...
They can still be pretty bad.
Yes.
Everybody's asking if the cat's got your tongue.
I really can't get a word in edgewise because you guys are having a nice conversation, so I'm just listening.
Well, you can talk.
I really don't have anything to say.
Well, fine.
I'm just here.
At least she has her voice.
People can blame me. I'm just windy and I don't shut up.
Oh, you're fine. Zen says, have any of you heard Josh and Austin stop talking yet?
Right on cue. Zen is right on cue.
Yep. Well, that's the whole point of this, is to talk, right?
Get to know each other, yeah.
Will you have any questions for Austin? I'll let you ask him.
That's what I can really think of. I mean, you asked it all.
Patty says, this is the Metalheads. I'm sure there's a technical difficulty going on. That was before we even started the stream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crown Tail Half Moon made it in. What's happening, Crown Tail? Doc says she's just a pretty face tonight.
Oh, okay.
Zen says she's purposely staying out of the shenaniganery. Did I say that right?
Close enough.
Maybe.
Oh, man. No, but we just figured, with the holiday being tomorrow, I didn't really plan on going on live tomorrow, and reached out to Austin, and I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing on Monday? Anything? And we said, well, let's do a surprise Sunday night stream, and maybe we'll just make some Fantastic Mayhem. And then that works out pretty good.
Very. I might still do like a later stream on Monday, just like when we're having a big family get together where we're shooting off some fireworks at the in-laws' place. Last year we did a big shindig up at our place here because, again, we have 2.5 acres, so we got plenty of space, and it's just enough outside of town where people will not where people usually don't mind because it's not really city limits. It's right like on the edge of where they consider it. But going to the in-laws this time, so I might do a little live stream of when we're shooting off some fireworks because everybody loves fireworks.
Right. Yeah. Neighbors were doing that yesterday.
Oh, we got neighbors all around.
We were out there helping them. I think the neighborhood probably hates us now. We were taking those little poppers, the bigger poppers,
like
and lining them in the kind of lining them in the street and waiting for cars to run them over. Every now and then you still hear a pop.
They're still running them over.
There'll be a couple days before all those are cleared out.
No, see, here's what you really do. Like, so my day job being in an office, sometimes we get like those little placemat things where people wipe their feet sometimes. What you do is early in the morning by the employee entrance, you put some of those poppers under the rug there. So when they step on it, it's like, someone's here. Let's see who it is.
Right.
Crown tail. They are coming in half asleep to work then too.
Right. That'll wake them up.
If that don't,
Crown tail says, looks like, Josh, sir, did you have a live stream last Monday? No, I didn't. I did not. So I haven't had one in a couple weeks. Monday was just a Monday. And I had way too much going on here. I really didn't have time to do it. So another reason why I went for tonight, because I didn't want to miss another one, you know. But doesn't mean you can't move the days around a little bit sometimes.
Sure.
But yeah. What Zen says? Zen says neighbors have been shooting them off all week. Like, you can't wait until the weekend at least.
Right.
I love blowing stuff up, and I'm already over it. And the dogs are a wreck. Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, Zen, I'm all for fireworks and such. I mean, my wife and I, I'm not going to say what we spent on there, but it might have been in a 3-digit range, but in the dollar sign, that is. But we got some fireworks, and I'm all for, having fun with this stuff. But yeah, at the same time, it's also like, when you're doing it for 2 weeks straight, then it's kind of like, okay, it's not fun. You're just kind of being a pain in the backside. It's you're
just doing it because you can now.
Yeah, you're doing it because you can, and it's like, you should enjoy it, but enjoy it responsibly. Don't abuse the privilege. But
you're scaring the crap out of everybody's pets. There was a couple that went off earlier today that jolted me a little bit because I wasn't expecting them.
I just don't get why people want to do it in the daylight too.
Well, yeah. What's the point?
I mean, if it's black cats or something that just is meant to make noise, which I don't hate them, but at the same time, like, if I'm going to spend some money on this stuff, then I want something to do other than noise. I can make noise, but I mean, it's like, give me something that gets colors or something that's, worth watching. But show me something cool.
That's my thing. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and light them off all day because then I'm going to be bored by the time it's dark enough to do it. Because it doesn't get dark around here until 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, I've just spent all day and probably a couple $100. It doesn't make sense to me. So,
see, if you're like us, we get a whole bunch of little stuff like those. I think they're called sky bombs or such. We get those little ground bloom things and such. I love those little sky bombs too. It's a little mini firework, and you can get them like for $2-3 at least around here. And see, they're not all that loud either. They just right in the air, and it's done.
Yeah, it's done and over. Yep.
And I saw Zen there too. Yeah, 1 a.m. and such. Then my neighbors were doing that at 1 a.m. I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be going over there because if I went over there, well, I won't go on that part. Let's just say somebody in a black and white car with some equally colorful lights on the top of their car as the fireworks will be probably paying them a visit rather than me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once it gets past 11:30, cut it off because people's got to work the next day. But they around here usually on the 4th, it won't stop until almost 3 a.m.
They usually here, and I think in Council Bluffs, they put the curfew or deadline, whatever you want to call it. I think they put it like right at midnight. So it's like, all right, when the clock strikes 12, cut it. Or otherwise you're going to be subject to fines or at least get a visit from a cop. And usually if the cops during 4th of July, they bump up their game, at least around here.
Right.
As they have to, I'm sure.
They make threats around here, but they don't acknowledge them.
They don't do anything. Yeah.
Last couple of years, it's been real dry, and they were putting out alerts that they didn't want anybody lighting fireworks off because it was dry. We were in the middle of a drought, and fireworks can start fires. And that 3 o'clock in the morning looked like a war zone. And I'm like, all right, I see they really paid attention to that ban.
Yeah, there's always that group of people that's just like, man, it'll be fine. Like, all right, yeah, you start a fire, or just like that mentality is why we get what we do sometimes in California or all these other places. Is it only takes one person.
Yeah, something lands wrong, that's it.
And it can be a long ways away where you'll never even know it was you. But
right. Yep. But if it's something like that, most of the time they don't care anyways. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go light them, and then we'll go home."
Patty.
It's Texas. At least half the people in the state are asses.
Being a person that lived in Canyon, Texas, just 11, 12 miles south of Amarillo, I can semi-concur with that. And sometimes I fit well in that crowd, being a college student at that time.
Well, I'll tell you, it ain't just Texas.
No, we got them here in Iowa, too.
Yeah, everybody's got them.
Especially if you drive on the roads. There's a lot of people that say Iowa is an acronym for the roads. IOWA, idiots out wandering about. No, I did not come up with that.
That's pretty funny. I need to make one for Ohio. Yeah, because I-75.
I tell you what, in Iowa, especially when you get past Des Moines, and if you're like heading from Des Moines to Iowa City, the speed limit says 70. It just as well say 80, because if you go like even 75 or 77, you're getting passed by cops. And I can take it when it's one thing when just normal civilians are passing me, but if a cop's passing me, it's like, okay.
Yeah, right. Well, he's doing it.
You're going this. I'm going this. Just don't pass him.
Right. Just don't pass him back.
Well, if you don't pass the cop, you're good. Pass the cop, no promises.
When I went down to South Carolina, I was on I-75, which is in Ohio. And I was running about 80 miles an hour and had semis trying to pass me. And I'm sitting here going, what the hell? At 80 miles an hour?
Level right below the cops. It's like, now I'm getting past the 18-wheelers.
Yeah. I'm sitting here going, all right, well, if they're going this fast, I'm bumping it up a little bit. So, but it'd be my luck. I'd be the one guy that got pulled over.
Yep, that's me too. But my wife will just tell you I have a very heavy foot, and 4 or 5 years down there in Texas did not help that. Speaking of which, I got to point this one guy out. I see Amazon Research Center saying that they were a professor at formerly West Texas State, now West Texas A&M. To be honest with you, Amazon, I'm actually a 2018 graduate of WT. Go Buffs. I don't know why I put up the one finger. There we go. Go Buffs.
It's like Jimmy P made it in here. What's happening, Jimmy P? Yeah. Oh, man. It's almost been an hour already.
Yeah.
Has it really? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
15 minutes. Look at that.
Yeah.
Well, dang.
All right. Well, I call it a success.
Absolutely. Also, yes, Zen Ginger. Gig 'em. Had some friends that were coming up watching them when they were at the World Series here in Omaha, actually. That's a lot of fun if you ever get in Omaha. If you're any bit into baseball, the College World Series, got to check it out. It is amazing. And probably where half of Omaha's budget comes from, too.
Gets a little busy, does it?
Oh, the trap. You can tell when the game times are. Fortunately, there's only about 2 per day usually. But it gets a little crazy.
Is that what you were doing a couple weeks ago on your live?
Yes. I was actually at one of the FanFest places, and
okay.
That was just one section. I mean, they close off like almost 3-4 blocks for this event. I mean, that live stream just showing what FanFest was did not even close do it justice. College World Series in Omaha there's a reason why I've been going to games there since I was like 10 or something. Until COVID hit, I made like at least 1 or 2 games for 17 years in a row before that,
Oh, wow.
So yeah, when COVID hit and obviously therefore canceled the event, that was a very weird summer.
Right.
And
there was nothing going on.
yeah. And it's always in the middle of June. You get that week and a half span. It's just like, oh man,
Right.
I should be watching baseball right now. I should be. And it's always super hot or it's storming and raining. It's never in between for the CWS.
Yep. Yeah, we just had some a bad one roll through a couple weeks ago, and they're calling tomorrow. I think chances for bad storms, and I'm like, well, June, July, that's usually when we get them.
Yep.
And then they come back around sometimes in late August. They'll come back around. You might get hit with a good storm here or there.
Mm-hmm.
I slept through a land hurricane, so I'll be all right.
Here in Iowa, it's just kind of the weather does what it wants. Sometimes we get storms all the way through November. I swear, Iowa is one of the few states where it could thunderstorm a day or so earlier, and in 2-3 days, you're getting 2-3 inches of snow. Welcome to the Midwest.
Yep, we've gotten 4 seasons in one day here.
Yeah.
Literally. Everybody will start up. It's nice and sunny. By noon, it's snowing. By 3, it's raining. By 4, it's sunny again. Or cold.
Yep.
Yeah. Doc says, what? Drinking Pepsi? Are you feeling okay? Actually, no, I'm not. Nope, you called that one. No, I'm sticking tonight. Haven't been feeling good the last couple days, so.
I just got
I just realized for Amazon Research Center, there you go. Got the W. I'm actually wearing the WT right here. Since they were a professor there, I see 1991 to 2000. Yeah, unfortunately, that would have been well before I got there. But working with the football team, working with the athletic department, that was a lot of fun there. Canyon was some fun years, very fun years. Haven't been there though since graduation day, but need to get back down there. I loved it down there. Love it here in Iowa too, but Texas is something too.
Well, her phone died, so.
Uh-oh.
Wondered what happened.
Yeah, I got booted because my battery power went too low.
Oops.
That's fine.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the technical difficulties, right?
Yeah. No, we're good though.
No,
I think.
was just my phone.
Well, her phone had a technical difficulty.
Yeah.
Mine's plugged in.
Oh, there you go.
See, that's how I roll.
Same thing with me. My laptop is plugged in. I just don't trust technology anymore.
No. I don't trust batteries.
Right. Last 2 times I've used the laptop, my camera has gone to heck and back. So I'm just like, yeah, we're plugging this in because I'm not about to do this a third time.
Right. Yep. I know you had a heck of a time that one day.
Yes. Last week was like, oh, are you kidding? And I honestly thought my computer camera just decided, nope, I'm retiring. Peace. I'm done. I'm like, oh, please don't tell me I got to go buy like a webcam or something now. But
yeah,
I probably would have just streamed from my phone rather. But
yeah, that's, you know what? Honestly, it works the easiest because this laptop, when I got it, it worked fine for like a day. And then I tried to stream the next week and I changed a bunch of stuff. I don't know what the hell I did. It hasn't been right ever since. And so I'm like, you know what? We're just going to go back to the phone. And I was making some of my videos on that thing. And I'm like, that became a huge nightmare. So I'm like, all right, because you got to get the video footage from the phone onto the computer.
right.
And that can take forever. And I'm like, why don't I just do it from my phone? That way I don't have to worry about it. It's already on there. So that's what I do.
I do something somewhat similar. I record all my videos from my phone and such. I do what I do is I upload them to a alternative channel that I have that I mostly use for just watching and viewing stuff. I'll do it on that, and then I also, there's sometimes these YouTube video downloader websites and such. I'll just put my video as unlisted on that alternate channel, and then I'll download it and then put everything on Adobe Premiere. That's my editing platform.
Oh, okay.
It's a very tedious deal and such, but alas, it's worked for the last 2 years, so it's like
it works.
It does the job, so this is what I'll roll with.
Looks like we got a bunch of people coming in. Looks like Paul McCarthy made it in. Danikin Aquatics made it in. What's happening, Danikin? Thunder Aquatics. What's happening, everybody?
Danikin Aquatics, a.k.a. my favorite Viking fan. And there aren't too many favorite Viking fans. Just kidding.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on. I think I'm going to wrap it. I'm starting to lose my voice again.
Fair enough.
So I think I'm going to call it here. But I appreciate you coming on. I've had a blast.
Yeah, this has been
You're
fun.
more than welcome on the old Mayhem channel anytime.
Absolutely. Hey, if you're ever looking for a guest, shoot me the message and we'll rock.
All right, we can do that. So anyways, guys, I'd like to thank the mods and everybody that showed up, the replay crew. Thank you. Love you guys. Austin, have an awesome time. If you pop up live, I'll be watching. Don't worry. And the rest of you guys, stay metal.
Stay fantastic while you're at it.
Yeah, fantastic mayhem.